What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the next installment of Talk Smack with Mac. I'm with a new friend of mine, Liam, all the way from Scotland. He runs MMA Hardcore on Instagram, and he's an MMA geek just like myself, like the best of us. But Liam, I really appreciate you getting on my podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm very excited to talk to you. I like your page as well. It's pretty awesome. I love the clips that you do yourself talking, and I'm very excited to speak with you.
Thank you so much. I'm still learning. I've been doing this podcast thing in the uh, Instagram for about 6 weeks. The Instagram a little bit longer, but the podcast about 6 weeks. So I still have so much to learn, but I'm enjoying the process, and I'm really enjoying talking to new people like yourself. Especially you're from another part of the world, so it's pretty awesome. I think you're my first international guest.
One honor.
Well, you run an MMA hardcore page on Instagram. What got you into that?
It's a good question. Well, when I was younger, I used to love martial arts. I grew up in kind of a bit of a crazy family and stuff like that. So I was always hanging around with the wrong type of people growing up. And you have to learn how to fight, and I used to be a massive fan of Bruce Lee. Used to watch his movies, the skinny dude kicking everyone's ass. Probably like a lot of people. I started doing Taekwondo. Yeah, I just loved the exercise. I loved the dedication and stuff like that. Discipline teaches you a lot, I think, when you're really young. I got really involved in that. I started competing in a few competitions, competed in the British Championships. I think I got a bronze for sparring. That was a long time ago though. And then I kind of stopped. It for a bit. The passion kind of seemed to disappear a little bit and started to discover new things. And then it's quite funny because probably like a lot of people, Conor McGregor drew me back into that kind of world and stuff with his success and the way his rise to fame. And I watched the fight between him and Nate Diaz, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just inspired me to get back into some type of martial arts. And obviously, with the way that fight went, it was the jiu-jitsu that stood out to me. So I started to do jiu-jitsu because there was no striking. That was always something I didn't really like too much, like the striking and stuff. So there was no strikes. Seems more like a gentleman's martial art. So I tried that, and I really liked that. And with a couple of years, I was competing in like the Scottish Opens and having fun with it. And yeah, I started an Instagram page and started putting up like some clips, even just of me exercising and talking about the fights. And yeah, it just kind of grew, which was really, really cool. And it's doing pretty well so far. And hopefully do some type of podcast or set up some kind of YouTube channel and get the ball rolling like yourself. But yeah, that's what got the page started. And I love interacting with people as well, having people reach out and comment and stuff. You'll see me in the comments sometimes talking to the followers and stuff, which is really nice, especially when they're from different countries, like you say.
Yeah, being from different countries, it's pretty wild. You get a completely different perspective, from a guest or from a person that you meet from another country, because the things that I'm seeing on the news or the things that I'm accustomed to is completely different from you. So when we get together and we're talking MMA, it's going to be just straight love and passion for the sport versus, the common theme that I'm accustomed to with the people that I'm around.
Yeah, of course, man. That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's pretty badass. So taking it back when you were younger, you started Taekwondo. What age did you start doing Taekwondo?
I probably started around, I would say, about 14 years old.
And how long did you do it for?
Till I was, I would say, about 18 or 19.
18 or 19. And in that time, how often were you doing it? How serious were you taking it?
Dude, I used to go, there was times where I'd be going pretty much every day. It started off as once a week. And then with the type of membership I had, I noticed I could go to other classes, so it became twice a week. And before I know it, I was traveling to like different parts of my city. So I'm from Edinburgh in Scotland. So I would start in Castorphine, and then it'd be different parts of Castorphine where you'd be doing different classes each night. And then I was kind of, well, where's the other classes? And eventually it got to the stage where the instructor was actually just taking me to the next class in his car. And I was kind of just going around with him and stuff. So I got pretty deep into it, you know. As a kid, you know, like I said, I was 14 years old and I'd be sparring like adult black belts. And, you know, like I said, I just loved to kind of scrap when I was a kid. And yeah, it was really fun. It gave me that outlet. Instead of doing it in the streets, I would do it in a martial arts hall in a safe environment. And yeah, you put me against kind of bigger guys that could control that, which was really good of him. And yeah, it taught me a lot about myself and just how to be in a way. It teaches a lot of discipline, which is good. Especially, I felt like I needed it, you know. And it was teaches you how to control it as well a little bit, which was really interesting. Yeah, but yeah, I was pretty deep into it. I'd say 3 or 4 times a week.
That sounds like such a good time. Especially at that age. I feel like 13 to probably 21, there's so much growing and maturing for males. I could speak for males because I'm a male, but when you have a martial art or something that you take seriously, it kind of builds your character. And with martial arts specifically, it teaches you that self-discipline and also the confidence that you're referring to feel good about yourself. It helps build that self-confidence in yourself too, because as you get better in that sport or that martial art, your confidence grows with it. And when that happens, I feel like you could be a happier, fun-loving person.
Yeah, that's completely true, you know. And it also opens up my social skills a little bit more, you know. Meeting people, I met a lot of really nice people in the Taekwondo classes I would go to, and became friends with a lot of them. We would hang out and we'd go on nights out together and stuff. And it was really became part of like a team. And that was really nice as well. So yeah, I'd encourage everyone to try something new, especially when you're young. You know, I was a young kid. I actually went to the classes by myself. I wanted to have my friends who would go with me, but not a lot of people were interested in that. So I just decided to go myself. And within a couple of months, you know, you start speaking to people and you meet friends and you enjoy doing that together. So it's like, oh, let's go to the next class together. And everything kind of ties in, which is really nice. It's crazy what a little bit of positive energy can create.
Yeah, that the social environment is amazing because, like you're saying, you meet people that you have the same common interests with, and that feels so good to have a friend like that. You could have conversations about it. You could go actively do it, and when you're that close to somebody doing taekwondo or even jujitsu that you do now, you're really close with the people that you're in there with. Literally, they're on top of you sometimes. So you
Yeah.
build a different type of yeah, you
Yeah.
build a different type of relationship with people. If you could come in, speaking for jujitsu, if you could come in and you could choke somebody out and then they choke you out, and then after that you guys go have a beer together and talk about how great of a time it was. That's a good friendship. That's the kind of
Yeah.
friendships I like.
Yeah, I think that's really cool as well because the more you do martial arts, even from doing it as a kid and then to do it as an adult as well, and then to see young kids come in, you'll notice that a lot of the younger kids that are coming in, or even just young adults that come in, they come in very aggressively, you know, almost like to prove something, and they are
Exactly.
kind of looking to fight. And it's funny because you could see a 6 foot guy that's like 200 pounds get tapped out by, you know, someone that's 120 pounds who just knows how to move and stuff. And after a wee while, you do begin to see it not as fighting, but more as an art. And
Hmm.
and that's where it
Almost
becomes.
like chess.
Yes, especially jiu-jitsu. Yeah, it becomes
Hmm.
more like chess. Taekwondo sometimes get a little bit crazy, but yeah, even jiu-jitsu, but definitely more of an art. And I think, like you say, you know, if you can roll with someone and then, yeah, say they choke you out or you choke them out and you go for beers after, it's not a fight. It's not aggressive and there's no ill will. It's more, let's play chess against each other. Let's see, um, um, let's see how this kind of goes. And at the end, if he taps you or you tap him, or vice, whatever happens, it's a learning experience. You
Yeah,
learn
yeah.
from it, you grow together. And like I say, it's all fun, you know. And you'll see people that come in that have that aggressiveness, and then over time you can see that they change. They see it more as an art, and the aggression goes away because they realize the aggression, that you have to have a lot of energy to be very aggressive.
Hmm.
You realize that's not the way with jiu-jitsu. You have to control that aggression and reserve your energy sometimes. So yeah, it's interesting to see the change in the perspective of people doing it as well. So I love that.
I think a lot of the new people with the aggression, I think it also kind of goes away and fades with time because, you know, the aggressive guy may get choked a little bit longer than anybody else would.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so you said Taekwondo, you did it for a while, you got really good, and you're doing the Open. What Open did you say?
I competed in British Championships and a few other things when I was young in Taekwondo. Jiu-Jitsu, I only done that for a couple of years or something. I got to blue belt, maybe just blue belt, I think. But yeah, I like to compete, you know. I started training, and with Jiu-Jitsu, that's one where I could go to every day. So I would be turning up quite a lot, you know, Monday, Tuesday, especially when I was really into it. I'd be training every day for the competitions, man. I used to take them so seriously because of it, just the discipline about the weight cuts, the training, be training every day, going out on jogs in my spare time. And it was a Scottish Open that I competed in. Yeah, it was my first
Scottish
jiu-jitsu
Open. Okay.
competition. Yeah, that was quite good. Competed against I got two roles. I did get beat twice, but just on points. I didn't get subbed. I think the people that I was competing against had been doing it quite a while longer. I just kind of jumped in at the deep end and thought, you know, let's just have some fun and see how it goes. But I love the experience. I still think about it sometimes. And yeah, it's good to get into that kind of competitive spirit. I liked it. But it was all learning, always learning.
Well, let me ask you, when you are going to those competitions and you're preparing, like say the day arrives and you have your matches that day and you get to the arena or the building wherever you're competing at, how are you feeling? What's going through your mind at that time? How's your body reacting?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think definitely nerves. It's I definitely did get a little bit nervous and stuff with Taekwondo. The more I did it, the more I was kind of used to it a little bit. But yeah, I remember that jiu-jitsu competition, dude. My brother came to see me and watch me there and stuff like that. My friends were there from my team. And yeah, it's kind of the nerves, the fear is always worse than the actual event. Because when you start rolling, everything else disappears and the time goes by so quickly that you could do it 100 times. It was just like, it was such a great experience. But it's always, the fear is always worse than the actual event itself. We create that fear in our own minds, and there's no need for that. It's all just about enjoying the process, having fun with it, and being in the moment as much as possible. Because like Will Smith says, God put the best feeling on earth on the other side of fear. So yeah, just do it.
Fear and failure, those are two very, very important things. And if you learn how to control both of those or embrace both of those, you'll be able to grow as a person a lot.
That's right.
But I have two questions for you. One, any day that you're competing or you have a match and you have time to spare, what are you doing to help that time go by and to help kind of keep your nerves in check?
Yeah. So in terms of like the competition and stuff like that, I just always just I don't focus on anything really outside of what I can control. I just focus on the things that I can control. Like so if I'm doing my training and I'm not at training, maybe I come home. Back then I would come home, maybe watch some jiu-jitsu, watch some UFC. I'd be going out to run. I would had a girlfriend then, so I'd be hanging out with her. Yeah, just having fun with my friends, you know. I'd be eating healthy and stuff, but I wouldn't be thinking about it too much. You know, I knew I had to do my runs and my training, but yeah, I would try not to think about it too much. Just have fun with my life, you know. Focus on, I love playing music. that's my main kind of passion now. I love playing music. I'm in a band and stuff, and yeah, I would be doing that and just learning about other things as well. Just focusing on what you can control, not worrying about anything outside of that, my man.
That's awesome. So, what competition did you like more, Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu?
It's a good one. Yeah, I think I like the jiu-jitsu a lot more. Even
Yeah.
as a martial art, I think the jiu-jitsu is just a lot more fun. For me anyway, I know everyone's different. The striking, looking back, I never really liked striking. Or even when I was hitting people hard, I always felt a bit like, ah man, I wasn't really into that too much, even though I was good at it. And I did get hit a few times myself, and it is fun. But I think that kind of wilder side, it's also quite limited. I thought the taekwondo, I was always with the taekwondo I was doing, you can only really throw straight punches. And I always used to end up, I wanted to like hook and swing and really go for it. And I would get called out on that quite a lot, or my aggression, I'd get called out even in competitions. Sometimes I'd be getting called out for hitting too hard and stuff, which is a bit strange, especially being in competition. It was either you win on points or you knock the guy out, So I was never really good at winning on points. It was always that I wanted to like really beat the guy up. But yeah, definitely jiu-jitsu. It's more of a gentleman's sport. I love the art of it. If you can take that fight to the ground and you know your jiu-jitsu, you should be able to control that fight very well, even without striking, which I think is really a skill in itself. If there's ever a situation that escalates in the street, or I'm with my friends, or I'm with a girl or whatever, I know that I can, if I get that fight to the ground quick, which I should be able to do, I should be able to de-escalate that situation pretty fast without using any violence. So that's a really nice kind of way to do it. I think it's more peaceful. So yeah, definitely the jiu-jitsu.
Every single person that I've had on my podcast that knows MMA or does MMA, they all said jiu-jitsu is the most important.
It's very humbling, very humbling. It's like chess, but it's good because you're not getting punched in the face or anything like that. It is all just learning in moves, and the jiu-jitsu teaches a lot. It teaches you how to be very humble, especially going against even girls. Some girls are crazy good at jiu-jitsu, and they'll properly throw you around if you don't know what you're doing. They'll be able to do what they want with you, and that's kind of cool as well, because get some guys that will be quite, she can't beat me up. Yeah, she can.
Then she ends up tapping you out.
I'm going to watch her do it right now, man. I'm going to record it on my phone and send it to you. But yeah, it's really humbling. And yeah, like I say, that aggression just goes away, and it becomes more about learning and learning to grow as a team. And if there's brown belts there, learning as much as you can, and they're welcome, they're happy to teach you as well. There's not a lot of ego. The ego
it's a family community.
Yeah, the ego disappears. That no one's better or tougher or anything like that. It's all just about learning. And if you get tapped, you get tapped. Don't ever be scared to tap. If anyone does jiu-jitsu and you never want to tap, don't be that way. People don't want to roll with people that don't tap. It's just there's no.
You don't want to hurt anybody.
You don't want to hurt anyone. I used to have a guy that would never tap, and I'd have his arm and I'd be hyper extending it. And eventually I would just let go and be like, dude, that's silly, man. If I was to go any further than that,
I would have broke it.
Yeah, I don't want to lose a training partner, and I don't want to hurt your arm, of course. But I don't want to lose a training partner, and I don't want to not hang out with you here. This is a great place, and just be careful, Don't let your pride get the better of you and your arm.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned that you have a passion for music now. I could definitely see all the guitars in the back in the corner. I checked out your YouTube page. Is that your band?
The Painkillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our band. Yeah. So we make music. Our band's called the Painkillers. We formed last August. It's crazy to think how far we've came in just a short period of time, but we're all very passionate about music, and we are just throwing ourselves into it. Any chance that we can play, we will. We record, we play shows, we interact with our fans. We love every aspect of it, and this is what we're going to be doing probably the rest of our lives. Yeah, we love it. We have a strong passion for our music.
That's awesome. What is the genre of music?
What's the genre of music? So we have loads of different. We all like different types of music. I really like hard rock music, like AC/DC, and then I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're probably my biggest influences in music. We have our bass player who loves the Beatles, so he's got the Beatles and kind of a Green Day type thing. So he writes like a lot of romantic kind of punk songs. And yeah, we've got a mixture. Some of our band like a little bit more heavy stuff. Our singer's just into so much different types of music. So our stuff it's kind of pop punk a little bit, kind of like punk, pop punk, quite romantic pop punk. Some of our stuff's a little bit more aggressive. We could maybe say it's some type of alternative metal. But we're just sort of experimenting with all these different sounds just now to see what we create. I guess we're still trying to find our sound.
Yeah,
And even
trying to
when we
find
do,
your sound, find your lane. Yeah.
yeah, and even when we do, I love music so much. I would never want to just pigeonhole us. We can jump lane whenever we want and create whatever. So, but yeah, rock and roll, I think, is in all of our hearts. So I think we'll always have that kind of punch, and that's what we want to make.
Versatility, that's big, especially these days. There's so many artists out, so many people putting out music. If you could be versatile and reach a wider audience, I think it's just better for you and your band. So that's cool to hear all the influences that you and your buddies have. So it kind of makes it pretty appealing to listen to or check out.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, UFC 252 recently passed. How do you feel about those fights? Can you give me your perspective on that?
Yeah, so the fights, start with, so I was really excited to see O'Malley. I really like that dude's energy. I think he's really cool. He's a great up and coming fighter. He's still so young. Well, say he's young. I'm not actually sure what age he is now. But I know he's not been fighting the top kind of contenders and thrown at the kind of deep end. We've definitely been taking it slow with him, which is really good. But yeah, I watched that fight. I was properly excited to see O'Malley back after all that, like after his last fight as well, when he knocked that dude out in the first round. Amazing. He's on this proper hype train, loving his energy. I watch him on Joe Rogan. I've watched him on like a few podcasts and stuff. He's a really smart kid and he really believes in himself and he surrounds himself with good people. So I was really surprised to see the fight go the way it did. I think he hurt his ankle, and then from there he was compromised. I like that he didn't give up, but against an opponent like that, you can't fight someone like that and get hurt like that so quickly in the first round. So I wasn't surprised that it did end the way it did. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the way that one went. I thought it would have went a little bit longer, or O'Malley would have got the knockout. But at the same time, I knew I had a big challenger up against him, and I wasn't surprised that it did go that way. Very exciting fight, and I think his opponent, it definitely brings a lot of eyes to him as well, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley has an aura around him, like a glow. He knows how to interact with people. He knows how to get people to rally behind him. He has a mouthpiece on him. It's almost like another Conor McGregor is on the come up. And yes, I agree. Yeah. If he didn't hurt his ankle, it would have been a completely different situation. The way he fights, he bounces around off of both feet. He could throw punches off of both feet. So it really hampered his style big time, even if he were to continue going with that type of ankle injury. But I can't wait to see him. Hopefully he heals up fast. He gets back in the octagon quickly, because I feel like he is potentially the next face of the UFC if he could get healthy and get back to it. Because the mixture between the way he speaks and his fighting style is a recipe for success. And all of us fans are rallying behind him. All of us true UFC fans, MMA fans, we like Sean O'Malley.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to get him back in there. He's only 25 years old, too. That's baby years. He's younger than both of us.
That's crazy, yeah. And he's fighting these crazy guys. I mean, Yeah, that's nuts. I don't want to see him fight like Cody Garbrandt yet. You know, I think he needs time with that. I seen Cody put a tweet out saying, "Not all of us are made for war" or something like that. Hashtag sugar free.
Oh shit! Yeah, I
I was
love
like,
it. Hey, Cody
oh, dude.
Garbrandt, talk your shit. I would not want to see Sean O'Malley come back from injury and fight Cody Garbrandt type yet. Uh,
No,
I think Cody
definitely
is a
not.
fucking a dog, man.
I
He's
think
a dog right now. He's seasoned and he looks like he's hungry and ready to get that title back. So
yes.
we talk a lot about it at my house how UFC should kind of cater to Sean O'Malley and protect him, especially coming off of a loss. That was his first loss, so they gotta kind of keep like a bubble around him and build him up slowly.
Yeah. Got to be careful because it is like you say, that's one of the next stars, in the UFC. Even after a loss, how excited are we to see his next fight and how he comes back from it? And I don't think that fight will define him. I think with the type of attitude that he has, he'll just get straight back to the drawing board. It's a shame though because it's like it's not because of his skills really. It's like I don't know what it is because I remember in his last fight or a few fights back, he also hurt his leg. I remember Joe Rogan was like interviewing him on the canvas. So I don't know if it's maybe he's just got kind of weaker bones, or I don't if it is just like the same injury that keeps occurring, because that could be an issue. But then it's just okay. Well, what's the best strategic way to fight with this type of injury? We can't keep doing it like this, having that leg forward, because if it gets kicked a couple times, this is what happens. So we're going to need to come up with maybe new stands, and if there's a way, I'm pretty sure he'll figure it out. But yeah, I don't think it was due to his lack of skills. I think probably that injury. But I'll need to kind of read more about it and stuff like that. But yeah, I think he'll definitely come back a better and stronger version of himself, and hopefully that injury is not too serious. And yeah, he returns. But that was a really good fight. Also, the main event, dude, that was insane. I think that's one of my favorite heavyweight fights of all time. Stipe versus DC3, just incredible. The first fight was awesome. DC knocking out Stipe was in the first round with that just inside whack whack. DC wins. Oh, I've always loved DC. Such a nice guy. He's such a great ambassador of the sport. And he's also kind of funny at selling the fights as well. I love the trash talk between him and John Jones. That's really cool. And then the second fight, Stipe managed to get the victory later in the fight. Amazing. So the trilogy was very exciting to me, and the way that fight went right into the decision, both those dudes fought their hearts out, and I could really feel that even with an empty stadium, both they dudes just were not giving up. Incredible fight. Um, well done to Stipe for pulling off an incredible win. Definitely the GOAT in the heavyweight division with no questions. And DC, I know DC says that he's never going to, that's it from him. But in his interview, notice he says, I'll never fight unless it's for a belt. And I don't think the UFC are going to be giving me any title shots anytime soon. Dude, John Jones just relinquished the light heavyweight title, and there's a chance he's going to go up to heavyweight. Are you telling me if John Jones is the champion at heavyweight, DC's not going to try and go for it one more time? Of course he will. So that's the next fight for DC, and it will be for the championship. And it just makes sense. If he's ever going to fight again, I think it will be against John Jones at heavyweight for the belt. And if he does it, that'll be because what's he got to lose, man? What has he got to lose? Another defeat? Who cares, man? You've already had 2 rubber matches. You came out on the short end of both of them. We still love you. You've got nothing else to prove. But if you were to go up and fight John Jones at heavyweight and win that belt, man, oh, dude, that would be sweet. That would be sweet.
So that entire scenario that you just said sounds very, very logical. It
Yeah.
definitely can happen. This is why I don't think it will.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dana White already came out and he said Stipe's next fight is against Ngannou, period. That's for the title, right? Then John Jones gave up his light heavyweight belt, moving up to heavyweight. I would think he's going to get a fight or two before he would fight for the belt, just because it would take a while unless he sits for a while. But I think John Jones would want to fight at heavyweight to kind of see how his body is reacting at that weight, before he gets in there with a Stipe or Ngannou. So I think he would have a tune-up fight. That's 6 months or 8 months that we're already talking. Mm-hmm. DC is 41. So you're telling me that he wouldn't fight for the title for until he's about 43, maybe even almost 44 years old against a prime John Jones at heavyweight. I don't think he wants those problems.
I see where you're coming from for sure. Don't think Stipe will fight Ngannou again. Nah.
Oh, he has to. He has to. Dana White already said Stipe's next fight is against Ngannou. He's the number one contender. He's the one that's getting the belt. And last time that Ngannou fought Stipe beat the brakes off of his ass. He tackled him to the ground. He was taking him to the ground very, very easily in that fight. Won the fight because of that. And he just kind of tired Ngannou out. Ngannou's last 4 fights have been 4 first-round KOs, short fights.
Not even fights. Even fights. Just crazy power.
Exactly. But I don't think he's going to knock out Stipe. I think Stipe will close the gap and make it a 5-round fight. And that's where I want to see where Ngannou's improvements have came from, because he hasn't had a long fight like that in a while. I want to see his conditioning. He looks like a Greek god. So I'm assuming his conditioning is going to be pretty well, because Stipe could go to distance and he could go to distance against anybody. We've seen that with the DC fight. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Stipe doesn't get enough respect. Mm-hmm. Personally, from myself too, I need to give him more respect. He's an all-time great.
Yeah, he's got enough. He's already beaten Ngannou. It's not going to do anything for his legacy. I don't think Stipe will fight Ngannou. I don't know if he's going to fight again. I know we're all talking about Daniel retiring and stuff like that, but when you think about how long that fight took to actually make because of Stipe's eye and stuff like that, and then he got poked again and things, I don't know if he's going to hang up the gloves. He's not really got anything to prove. Fighting someone he's already beat, especially a dangerous fight like that, where he did get clipped a couple times by Ngannou in the first round. And this is where I'll sort of speak about Ngannou a little bit in his journey. He's only been doing martial arts for a very short period of time. So when Stipe fought him, it definitely wasn't the best version. It was definitely still someone who was learning about the martial arts, and he got by on a lot of his power. With Stipe, obviously, Stipe was like, let's wrestle this dude, and took it to next levels. And just totally dismantled him, take him to the ground, controlled the fight, drained his energy. And when you drain a guy that's that size, when he has no energy, the power goes. So he did a really smart thing and stuck to the game plan. But it was a very dangerous fight, and he took it, he won. I don't see them doing the rematch. I think Stipe could hang it up. And I think we see John Jones versus Ngannou for the heavyweight belt. I think that's the fight they're going to make.
I could see that happening, and I would like that too, because I don't think John Jones will get knocked out. I mean, don't get it wrong. Don't get me wrong. If Ngannou gets a good clip on anybody, or even a half good clip, he can knock out anybody. But John Jones is he's next level. I don't think he would ever put himself in a position to get knocked out.
Yeah.
He's been in the octagon so many times with the elite of the elite since his very first fight. And he's never got knocked out so far. So
no, he's never been beat. I think he's got one loss on his record, but it was like a disqualification for
that doesn't count.
He was winning that fight anyway.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Dominating.
Yeah. He's never been beaten. This is the thing though, it's like John Jones has that kind of aura around him where he is the GOAT. He's beat Daniel Cormier, he's beat Gustafsson, he's beat basically all these legends and things like that. But he is getting a little bit older, and something I'm beginning to notice about the UFC and MMA in general is you're getting all these young guys that are coming up, and they get put against whenever the veteran or the older champion and stuff are coming up against these young guys. The younger guys seem to be doing incredible. And I don't know if that's just from obviously when you take when you look at martial arts like 10 years ago and the champion stuff like your George St.
Yeah,
Pierre,
the
stuff like that.
evolution of the sport.
Yeah, like, or Aldo. Yeah, like you got Aldo, and then because he was unbeaten for like so long, and then you get Conor McGregor, and it just the sport's always continuing to evolve. So you got all these young kids that are just learning all this stuff, implementing it, and they're young and they're fit, and then they're going against older guys that are kind of that help the sport evolve, and you're seeing it constantly progress. So I always think that's really interesting. Israel Adesanya as well, like say, going against like Anderson Silva, that's a prime example of what I've just said. You know, Anderson had that because when Anderson was on the go, no one was doing that sort of stuff. You know, that's what stood out so much about him. This guy's got this crazy style. He's like evolved in martial arts, and when he fought Israel, it was definitely a moment of that passing the torch. You can sense it, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. So when you say like Ngannou's a bit older, isn't he, against John Jones?
I know
That would be
John.
a good fight.
I'm pretty sure John Jones is only like 30, maybe 32 tops.
32 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a real interesting fight, you know, to see John Jones versus Ngannou.
John Jones just turned 33 less than a month ago.
He's still pretty young.
Yeah.
Still pretty young. Yeah, and that's the thing though. He's been doing it a long time. Even though he's younger, he's still been in a lot of wars, especially the Gustafsson one, man. It's insane. But yeah, and Ngannou, he's not had a lot of damage. He's still pretty fresh, and he's got that crazy power. He seems to be just soaking up information like a sponge. Such a dangerous fight. And even after, did you watch his last fight where it was just like, yo, I'm just gonna knock this dude out in the first round. I'm not even gonna care. He just windmilled and smacked him.
Yeah, he just came in letting his hands fly, and he was like, one of them is gonna land, and the fight's gonna be over, and I move on.
That's the thing though. It's like once you know that, it's like the Mike Tyson effect. You know, if I hit you, like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the face. And you can do like technical boxing and stuff like that, which is good. I think I seen a video of Michael Bisping saying this, where it's like, even though you could be like the best boxer, there's times where I've been in training and there's been young dudes that have came in and just went crazy from these windmill type hits, and one connects. And this seems to be what Ngannou is doing. You know, you'll just throw a flurry of punches, not caring if they, like, one will land, and it's just, if it lands, you know, that's kind of lights out. Just like we've seen in his last fight. So the technique kind of goes to the wind. But yeah, against more experienced strikers, but then again, Alistair Overeem, it's the same thing happens. It's just dangerous power. Did I see him doing that with John Jones? I don't know.
I don't think he could be able to, because how the reach that John Jones possesses, and then that extra power that he would get by moving to heavyweight. I see every time Francis would come in and try to throw one of those crazy windmills or hooks, John Jones would just kick him in his leg, give him an oblique kick, give him a kick him in his calf, and just chop his leg down. You know the leg kick I'm talking about that John Jones throws, that
right in the knee.
Yes, and that's gonna stop Ngannou in his tracks every time.
Yeah,
every time.
That's the thing, you know. And I guess my question is John Jones big enough for heavyweight? You know,
that's what I was thinking too. But I was really worried too, because he's pretty lanky. But I looked at his shoulders. He has very broad shoulders, and I think John Jones can put on weight pretty easily. And plus, he's an uber athletic guy, so I think it'd probably just be natural for him to put on muscle. I could be wrong though.
And this thing, he's always had these small little legs, you know. So Francis was to kick them a couple of times, you know. It's pretty dangerous for John Jones. John Jones is like, he's the GOAT at light heavyweight. He's never been beaten. He's a legend. If he was to go up to heavyweight and fight Ngannou, I don't know, man. I'd rather see him. I love Stipe, like you say as well. Stipe gets overlooked a lot, and yeah, he's not the kind of guy that talks a lot of smack. He's very respectful. He's very lovable. But would you rather see John Jones fight Stipe, or would you rather see John Jones fight Ngannou?
I'd rather see John Jones fight Stipe, hands down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype surrounding Ngannou right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like you just said, and I mentioned earlier, Stipe is always overlooked. The only other person other than Stipe to ever give Daniel Cormier any type of problems is John Jones.
Yes.
So let those two battle it out for the title and see what happens. But Ngannou has to get Stipe has to get past Ngannou first, who's just a freight train coming to kill people right now.
I know Dana White says a lot of things. I don't think Stipe is going to fight Ngannou again. He's not going to. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think John Jones is going to fight Ngannou straight away. I think the fight that they're going to try and make it heavyweight is Stipe versus John Jones. They'll make that fight. After thinking about it now, I think they'll make that fight. Stipe is going to fight again. Why not fight John Jones? You know, he's already beat Ngannou. John Jones wanted to come to heavyweight. Why not make it for the belt? Sell the pay-per-views. And like you say, I'd rather see him. I want to see him fight Stipe. That would be interesting because they've both got a lot to gain from that. Stipe beats John Jones. John Jones comes to heavyweight. It's like, that's pretty badass. If Stipe were to beat the GOAT at light heavyweight, or if John Jones were to beat the heavyweight after being the GOAT at light heavyweight, it puts him in a really good place. And then if I was Stipe, dude, I would just probably retire after that, you know? What else are you going to prove? You know, you can fight Ngannou again, but you've already got the win on the record. You know, why risk that? You've just beat John Jones. You beat DC twice. I think he defended the belt. He's defended the belt more than anyone at heavyweight. Yeah, just retire and enjoy. Put your feet up, man, and be a firefighter and enjoy the rest of your life. If John Jones wins, I think, we'll see the DC fight for sure.
So, I definitely agree. I think the John Jones and the Stipe fight is the fight to make, just for the simple fact, like you said, John Jones is the light heavyweight GOAT. Stipe is the heavyweight GOAT. So you have two of the greatest of different weight classes ever to clash, and whoever wins arguably becomes the greatest ever. So on a Mount Rushmore, 4 people of UFC, the 4 greatest people, I think Anderson Silva, John Jones, Amanda Nunes, all have to be on there.
Who's that? Anderson Silva, Amanda Nunes, John Jones.
Yes, and then that 4th person is kind of up for grabs. If Stipe could be closed, Daniel Cormier, I thought GSP is definitely probably number 4. But if John Jones goes up and Stipe beats John Jones, does Stipe have to be on that list?
It's the thing, though. It's because, like, with GSP, he only got beat twice, but then beat the guys that beat him. And then he went up the weight division and became champ. And I like that dude, you know? He is like a proper, like, martial artist. He really embraces that. And what a great ambassador of the sport as well. So, yeah, GSP is always up there on that Mount Rushmore, I think, as well. But yeah, Khabib as well. That is kind of quite crazy. I think he's like 28 fights or something, and like
28. No.
Yeah. So you've got Gaethje fighting him in, I think, September. That's pretty soon. That's next month.
Yeah.
How do you see that go?
I think Khabib's gonna win.
Yeah, you think you can take him down?
That Ferguson and Gaethje fight was one of my favorite fights ever, probably because the sound I love UFC MMA no fans because you hear the interaction, you hear the punches land, you hear the shit talking in between. Yeah, I fucking love it. And that Gaethje Ferguson fight, every single time you heard Gaethje rock Ferguson with a hard hook, you heard it. I felt like I was there watching in the front row or something. It was amazing. But Khabib is he's different. He's in the mountains wrestling bears right now for fun, waiting for his training camp to start. He's just a different type of guy. But everybody's that guy until they're not. So I want to see who's going to beat Khabib, if anybody ever does, because we've watched him go toe-to-toe standing up with Conor McGregor, who's one of the best strikers in the UFC. But then Khabib's wrestling is just a tier above anybody he goes against. So if you have somebody that will strike with the best of the best, and then he's just completely dominant against anybody if it goes to the ground, I don't see how you beat that.
Yeah, not scared. He stood and traded with Connor and actually got the better. You know, he actually clipped Connor really well and picked it out at one point. Gaethje, yeah, Gaethje's just this really tough dude that's just going to continue to come forward and just throw whatever you throw, you'll throw. You can throw exactly the same thing. You'll throw harder until someone breaks, which is really cool. Also, I've not seen I've not really seen any of Justin Gaethje's wrestling since he came to the UFC. He's always just been a stand-up brawler. Not, I know he gets upset when you say brawler, but he pretty much just stands and trades, and like it's very controlled chaos, as he likes to say. But yeah, he's not really shown us a lot of his wrestling, so Khabib might have a surprise. You know, he might actually be able to control that wrestling. I guess all he really needs to really control is the takedowns. It'll be an interesting fight. I'm really interested to see how that goes. Gaethje or Khabib. Yeah, it's weird. It's like I've got a feeling that Khabib's going to get it by just doing the same thing, because we've seen it over and over and over again against Conor, against Dustin, against Dos Anjos, against Michael Johnson, everyone. But I kind of want Gaethje, you know? I want Gaethje.
I want him to win too. I'm a fan of his. I
love
think he's a scrapper, man.
Yeah.
That dude, he was born to fight.
Yeah.
And I just like his attitude. He's kind of like, yeah, man, I'm just a fighter. That's what I do.
Yeah, dude.
And that pretty much sums him up.
Win or lose, I'll give it my all. And I'm a hard worker. People pay to watch my fights. I'm the most exciting fighter. And he's fought Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, Cowboy. Like he puts on a show every time. So to see him actually earn his way to a title shot is really admirable, and it's crazy that he's got there with the style of fighting that he has. And if he wins the belt, man, that would be incredible. I'd love for that to happen to him, and I hope it does. It was kind of like Dustin when Dustin was going to Abu Dhabi, and it was kind of like, hope Dustin gets it, but I don't see it, you know. He's always kind of come just a little bit short. But it's nice to see when that does happen. So I hope Gaethje does get it, and it'll be a really entertaining fight. And then who knows what's going to happen with Conor McGregor. No doubt he'll be back. He looks like he's training, and he's in some pretty crazy shape just now. But speaking of GSP, I don't know if you've checked out GSP's Instagram recently. He's looking I don't know, it was just maybe me, but I think he's looking a lot more slimmer and a lot more toned, almost like he's trying to get to 155. So I don't know if he's thinking about fighting Khabib, if he's thinking about fighting Conor, because Conor McGregor's always he's always in the mix. Conor can fight anyone because he's such a big draw. But I mean, it would make sense. But if Conor was to fight GSP, that would definitely spark an interest, you know? That doesn't mean anything.
I definitely agree. Conor is a draw, so he could definitely get in there with whoever, whenever. But I don't think GSP would come out of retirement for Conor at this point, because Conor has just been so detached from the sport. He hasn't fought much. He doesn't have the same reputation as he once had. I remember seeing something about GSP and Khabib for April of next year, based on how the Gaethje fight goes. So that's what I would think. You know, Khabib, hypothetically speaking, he wins against Gaethje. He's 29-0. Nobody could beat him. And then GSP comes out of retirement and beats Khabib. That would be ridiculous. But we'll see what happens. One fight I do want to ask you about is the Israel Adesanya fight versus Paulo Costa. How do you see that fight?
I think it'll be a tough fight for Adesanya with the power, because when you look at was it Paulo Costa versus Romero, they're both powerhouses, and he's not afraid to go forward. Costa's not afraid to go forward and like really go for it. And Adesanya's definitely like a counter striker. He loves to counter and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be a really, really exciting fight. How do I think it goes? That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Oh, I don't know. That's great. It's hard to think about. You know, Israel's so technical. It's hard to imagine him getting beat by this kind of strong brawler. I think he should be able to control that. And he just schooled Robert Whittaker. Yeah, he just seems to be next level, and he has that kind of aura about him, that energy. He seems to really be like centered. So I want Israel. I want Israel to win that fight. I think he will. And but I think it'll be an entertaining fight. It'll definitely be his biggest challenge. I think he will get hit a few times really hard. I think his face could get ballooned up a little bit. But I think like he did with Gastelum, so Gastelum's quite strong, you know, as well. So he can definitely hold his own. I think he will have a bit of a messed up face and things like that. I think he'll definitely take his strikes. But overall, I think he will get it, maybe on points, or he might knock him out. You know, when I was watching Israel versus Whittaker, that was just crazy to see that happen so fast, especially against Whittaker. So if Israel can do something like that again, yeah, I'm going to say Israel, and that's how I think it will go. I think he'll just kind of outstrike him, kind of play around with him a little bit. I think Paulo Costa, he has his power, but I think he'll miss a lot. I think he'll miss Adesanya a lot. I think Adesanya will kind of be like shown off a little bit, and then you'll just clip him with a 1-2 or something will connect, and I think it could get stopped. I'd say TKO for Adesanya. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a bold prediction. Okay, you called it already. I'm gonna take Adesanya in decision. I think he could throw strikes from all different angles. He's going to be able to attack at all different angles, using all of his limbs. You know, throw a lot of kicks, keep the distance, never let Costa close the gap, and kind of just keep him off him. And how experienced Adesanya is with throwing his strikes, I think he's going to be able to get the judges by the scorecards. But 5 rounds for those guys, that's going to be tough.
It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see like what fights are on that undercard as well, because that'll be a good one. Did you hear about Paige Van Zandt going to bare knuckle?
Bare knuckle. Oh. That's
dude. I was about to. My heart was like, no. I couldn't believe it, but that girl's got some like. That girl is ballsy, you know, she will do anything, you know, she looks like this little princess and she's absolutely gorgeous, she's stunning, but she's a proper
She's terrifying warrior. At the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my UFC crush.
Yeah, UFC, she's doing bare knuckle boxing stuff. She must have got a good contract to be doing
I was going to say, do you know the length of the contract, how many fights? Because I was kind of sad when she did that, man. I don't want to see her get punched.
Yeah, you know, she's so cool. I think she put a post up recently which was saying like so many people like think that you should choose a career based on how you look and stuff like that, and
that. Follow your heart.
It would just make people unhappy, and it's not her, you know, she can't help that she's a beautiful, like the way she looks. I think she was saying she started martial arts when she was 15 years old, dude, and she just fell in love with it, and this is what she loves to do. So as much as she is a beautiful woman, you know, she wants to kick some ass, and I'm happy to watch her do it.
Oh, fuck yeah. I am extremely
excited. That's pretty hot as well, you know? So all the best to her. I hope she does make a lot of money from it and has a good time and enjoys the experience. I hope she doesn't get hurt. And I hope her opponent doesn't get hurt either. I love watching it, but I hope it's just a good fight and everyone leaves healthy, you know?
Nobody likes to see people get hurt, so
it's kind of crazy altogether, that bare knuckle thing. I still don't really know how I feel about it. It's a bit barbaric.
No, I watched one fight and these guys went the entire distance, but they were beating the living shit out of each other. I don't understand how they were still standing. And I kind of felt a little guilty on the inside for kind of liking it, but kind of like feeling bad for them too, because I know those guys are going to be in the hospital for a good little bit.
Dude, yeah. They don't really have the gloves, do they? Bare knuckle. It says it, bare knuckle. I know when Artem fought, who was that first dude? Was it Jason Kidd or Jason Knight? When Artem fought Jason Knight, that was the first one that kind of was taken off the bare knuckle boxing. Like, this is going to be it. Dude, both their faces after, they both look like they've been like horror films.
Yeah.
Loads of cuts, loads of bruises. It's proper bare knuckle. And I think Artem's, I think the second fight, he got punched in his eye, and it was just, it's just so, yeah, there's definitely a sense of, dude, why are we watching this? This is horrible, you know? I hope they're getting paid a lot of money for it.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're getting paid that much.
Thanks, man. I'd rather see them in the UFC with the gloves on, with the rules. And if you're just bare knuckling, man, it's so dangerous. It's like just it's like head and body strike, heady body strike, heady body strike. It's not any wrestling. It's not any jiu-jitsu. It's kind of just a bit scary. And yeah, I don't think I like that too much, you know. It'll be interesting to see the Page fight, but apart from that, it's kind of hard to sell me on the bare knuckle just now, if I'm honest. You know, I don't see myself buying it. I do think it's a bit brutal. But hey, it's not for me, but that's not to say it's not for everyone else. I know other people may enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I really appreciate you getting on the podcast, man. This is one hell of a conversation. I would love to have you get on the podcast a bunch of times more in the future. Maybe before the Israel Adesanya fight, we could do like another podcast and give our predictions for the fight.
Dude, that would be cool. I'd love it. And it was really nice for you to invite me on, Mac. I've had a great conversation with you. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what you do with your YouTube channel and your page. All the best, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And, you know, likewise, I hope you kill it. You're already killing it on Instagram, setting an example of where you could be with some hard work. But this is your time to shine. You can let the fans know where to find you at, your Instagram, your music, all that stuff. Let us know.
Yeah, definitely, guys. So if you're into MMA, you know, follow MMA Hardcore on Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel, MMA Hardcore, which is kind of just in progress just now. If you're into cool music, follow my band. Our band on YouTube is The Painkillers. Instagram, it's The Pain_Killers. Facebook, The Painkillers. And I also do my own solo stuff, which is A Perfect Ambience, which you'll be able to find on Instagram, Facebook, and SoundCloud. Also Spotify, The Painkillers. And thank you. I really appreciate that.
There it is, guys. Check out MMA Hardcore on Instagram and The Painkillers on YouTube. Liam, I really appreciate you getting on Talk Smack with Mac. Peace.
Bad bitches in the process. I'm just being honest with you. Every time I see a better bitch, it makes me love less.
I hope my being honest ain't a problem, cause I keep that shit 100. Get blunt while I'm blunted. She ain't sucking the fucking, then when bitches getting punted. And we just doing laps around the city, come you running. There ain't shit, nigga, that she can't help loving. Shit, I'm just being honest.
Y'all niggas weak, 7 days. The one and only one, like 11, way cooler than a polar bear's toenails. I got drugs in my pocket and they for sale.